It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Kuztown Golden Bears assistant softball coach, Coach Elizabeth Parker. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching college softball?
Sure. So about 3 years ago, I was actually coaching high school. Um, and that was a nice little taste of being a softball coach. And it was really my first coaching experience. And then um, I actually started 6 years ago. I coached at Souderton High School for 3 years. And then in the summer of 2019, I got a phone call from my current head coach, Judy Laws, that she was going to be looking for a new assistant. And I've obviously have loved softball and I played in our conference. So it was really flattering to get a phone call from her and, inquiring about becoming her assistant. And I applied and here we are 3 years later, still doing it.
What was it like going to Shippensburg to play college softball?
So Shippensburg, for me personally as a student athlete was a perfect fit. My older sister was there. She was a senior when I was a freshman. And it was the perfect distance from home. They had the major that I wanted to study. And it worked out really well. I had a great time there. I was there undergrad for 4 years and I stayed an extra year and I got my master's, but I loved my time at Ship.
Of course, during that 1 year, what was that like getting to play with your sister?
It was really cool. We had a similar experience in high school. We got to play varsity together. Again, same deal. She was a senior, I was a freshman. Um, yeah, I don't think we appreciated it as much then as we do now. I think that we kind of took it for granted that we were at Ship and playing together at the same time. But she's one of my favorite people. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I loved playing with her.
What were some of your college accomplishments and what was it like getting to put on that ship's jersey?
So I loved putting on the jersey. I think most college athletes can agree to that. They love putting on their school colors and playing for their university or college. Some personal accolades. My sophomore year, I was named to the all region team as a pitcher slash utility since I played several positions. Um, my junior year, our team came in second in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, which that was probably one of the school's best finishes, probably in about 10 years or so. And then also we got to host regionals 2 years in a row. And also my junior year, 2014, I actually had the go-ahead home run that kept us in the winners bracket. So those are some pretty good memories.
What was that like having hitting that home run that kept y'all in that winner's bracket?
It was very exciting. It was one of those pitches where you make the contact and it feels good off the bat, but until you actually see it go over the fence, yeah, it was really exciting because we were on a roll at that point. And my coach actually, he ended up picking me up, which was a little scary, but no, it was the passion and the excitement that the team shared was really cool. A moment that I'll never forget.
Of course, leaving college, what was it like getting started in coaching?
So leaving college, I I'll say there was a little bit of a struggle. Basically my entire life I was a student athlete, and in 2016 it was the first time that I wasn't. And also I graduated and so 2017 was really that first shock of reality, so to speak. Um, but it was good. The break from softball was nice for a little bit, but then deep down I realized that it's in my blood and it's something I wanted to continue to pursue. So that's where I had the opportunity. I was actually going to be an assistant at Souderton High School, and the head coach, it turned out that she took a different full-time job that no longer allowed her to coach high school softball. And it worked out that I was able to kind of walk into that position, and I loved it. I think a lot of coaches say like it's what they were meant to do, and I kind of feel that way. That coaching softball is definitely it's in my blood. I'm here for it.
What was that like getting to coach on that high school level and become a head coach?
So it was a little challenging. I was young when I was first hired. And it's funny because obviously you play softball for pretty much your entire life, but to then have to plan practices and come up with the drills and again kind of coach the team up and maybe do a different like strength conditioning piece and just all the different hats you have to wear as a coach. But it was great. I loved it. And especially some of the girls that went on to play college, it was interesting to help them from with the recruiting on that side of it. Where now, again, flip side, I'm busy recruiting those players and trying to get them to Kuztown. Um, but yeah, one thing that I think that I do well with is juggling a lot. So it's fun to play all those different roles and wear those different hats. And I mean, I still get to do the same at Kuztown. There's a lot of different responsibilities involved in being an assistant coach.
What was that transition like from going from the high school level to getting to coach at Kutztown as a college coach?
So high school, it's still a demanding commitment, especially I think a lot of sports now become an all year or a year round season. But I would just say that the concepts are obviously the same, but the sport itself is faster at the college level, and just again the demand like this, it's my full-time job. Yeah, so just trying to balance the schedule of again lifts, practices, academic meetings, separate bullpens with pitchers and catchers. There's a lot to balance, but like I said, I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
What was it feeling like when you became an assistant coach for Kutztown and you got to live out your college dream, your college coaching dream?
Uh, Pretty surreal. I'm not gonna lie. Um, yeah, I think some days, like everything, we all take it for granted sometimes. But I'm very lucky to be in this role. And honestly, working for Judy Law, she's one of the best in the business. It's an honor and privilege to be able to work with her and learn from her. Um, yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of surreal sometimes.
What was that feeling like when you got to step on the softball field for Kutztown and help lead that team?
Exciting. There was a little bit of anxious, I think, being a young, again, young college coach or young assistant, and changing the perspective from being a player to a coach. It has a different mindset to it, but I love it. There's still game day jitters. It's exciting every time you step on the field, and yeah, it's good.
Of course, what would you tell your younger self that was a college softball player, looking back now as you're a softball coach?
Keep chasing your dreams. Like I said, this wasn't something that, not that I didn't want to do it, but I don't think it was realistic in my brain. And then when everything kind of fell into place, it's like, oh yeah, like this is it. This is, like I said, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
What does a typical softball game day look like for Kutztown?
So from my perspective, being the assistant, a lot of the admin type stuff and really making sure that everything's organized, that we have the wristbands, the book, the travel rosters, if it's an away game. Again, just trying pretty much making everything as simple as possible so that way my head coach can obviously focus on coaching the team up and all that. But yeah, travel, hitting fly balls, talking strategy with the players, creating the lineups with Coach Laws. Again, a little bit of everything, but it's all good.
Who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
So we face Shippensburg, Westchester, Millersville, um, Mansfield, Bloomsburg, Lock Haven, Shepherd, East Stroudsburg, um, and I think that's everyone. And I forgive me if I did miss someone, but there's 8 other schools that we have to compete against in our side of the division. Our conference is split up into 2.
Of course, how is that like getting to compete against teams like Bloomsburg and Shepherdsburg and Shipsburg?
Um, it's fun. It's definitely there's such a history with all of those schools and rivalries. So every game, it's a challenge. It's a lot of fun. And a lot of the head coaches have been coaching against each other for a lot of them have been coaching for decades against each other. So it's really cool to be a part of that and experience it. But I think we have one of the hardest conferences in Division II. So it's like I said, every game means something, and the drive and competitiveness and passion that our players have, it's really fun to watch.
What's that like, obviously getting to play those non-conference games like UNC Pembroke and Mercy Hertz?
So I like playing some non-conference games. Like we have the weekend down at UNC Pembroke. And it's typically our first outing of the year. So sometimes it's a little messy, but we get to get out on a field, see what we need to work on, see what our personnel looks like, and they're great competition then to get us ready for conference. So yeah, we have a couple Southern trips in place, some Southern schools that, like I said, they get us ready for the beast that is the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
Of course, as a coach, what is it like returning back to your alma mater of Shippensburg to play them?
It's interesting. There's definitely a little bit of nostalgia that hits when I get back on campus. But like everybody else in the conference, they're a rival now. So I can't, as much as I would maybe want to, I can't root for them. But it's fun because I am friends with the coaching staff. A lot of the coaching staffs within our conference have become friendly with each other. And I like to say the term frenemies. But yeah, so there is that little bit of nostalgia going back to Shippensburg's campus, but deep down we want to win. We're still competitive. There's still that rivalry, and we like to beat them.
What are some of the game day traditions and routines that Kutztown has created?
So a lot of that more so stems from the players. They kind of have their own routines and rituals and cheers and sayings and things like that. That I'm not necessarily privy to. They like to keep that kind of within the team. But yeah, I think they talk about what they want to accomplish that day, things that they want to focus on, work on, like picking each other up. Again, pitching well, hitting well, doing all those fun things. But it is fun to watch the camaraderie of the team. They really love each other, and I think that shows on the field.
What does the typical recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play college softball?
So typically, I mean, it could start one of two ways. We have a lot of student athletes that reach out to us, and we talk about our program. We ask them for different skills videos, highlight reels. A lot of girls are now using Instagram and Twitter to do skills videos and things like that. And then on the flip side, if we work a prospect camp and see somebody that we like, we can reach out and say, hey, we like what we saw. We maybe want to set up a campus visit, because ideally the players are going to be on campus for 4 years. So we'd like to bring them into campus, talk to them about the program, give them a tour, and just kind of really build that relationship. Because that's honestly, yes, we have to coach the skill of softball, but I think a lot at the college level, a lot of it is the relationships that you have with your players. So you want to start that relationship early in the recruiting process.
What do you look at in those prospective student athletes when on the road?
So we look for skill. Obviously, we want people that are strong softball players. Again, good hitters, good pitchers, good fielders, all that good stuff. But honestly, too, we look at everything. We look at them as a full, well-rounded athlete. We want somebody that's going to get good grades, not get into any trouble. People that we don't necessarily have to worry too much about while they're on campus. But yeah, and then there's obviously the quantitative, if certain pop times, home to first times, hitting certain miles per hour, pitching wise, again, exit velocity of the pitches, all that kind of stuff. The list goes on, but I think first and foremost, we look for the skill that the athletes have, and just that they're good people, and I mean how they treat their parents, treat their teammates. Yeah.
Of course, when those prospective student athletes come on to Kutztown, what does the official visit look like?
So we don't do a whole lot of official visits. I know that there are some schools that'll have players overnight. Um, but yeah, a lot of the time we'll bring players in more so for the unofficial visit, and we do, like I said, we can do lunch in the dining hall. They can see what the campus food looks like. Again, we can take them to campus. We actually have them work out with our players sometimes. That's one good thing with Division II is you're allowed to do tryouts. So we utilize that and try to, again, see how the players are going to mesh with, or the prospective student athletes, how they're going to mesh with the team and the players. Because like I said, that camaraderie on the field is really important. And especially in college softball, and come January, we're together 95% of the time. So you want everybody to obviously get along and look out for each other and care for each other.
Of course, as a coach, what is it like getting to see those softball players get to put on that burgundy jersey and fall in love with it?
It's awesome. And like you said, I obviously have some experience having been a student athlete. And there really is nothing like it across all divisions. The chance that kids get the opportunity to play college athletics is really something special. And I think our players, I think they love it as well. And it's fun to watch them, again, just the passion and excitement they have. If we have our left fielder, if she rips a double down the line and can turn into a triple, just to see her then like slide into third base, get up and just get all excited and hype her teammates up. Yeah, game days are the best days. It's a lot of fun.
How is it like, obviously, as a college coach, getting to see those players from Pittsburgh go on and play professionally, whether it's Athletes Unlimited, US or Mexico or Canada or overseas?
So typically with our level at Division II, we don't have too many athletes that go on to play post grad and professionally. But regardless, it's fun to watch them grow. I know that there are a lot of players that will play in some 23 and under leagues and continue to play even after they've graduated. And I think it just goes to show how much the girls fall in love with the sport, that it's really hard to give it up once they're done. So it's like I said, it's fun to watch.
Of course, what are some of your future plans for the softball program for Kutztown?
Um, I think that, I mean, with Coach Laws and I, we just really want to keep kind of a winning tradition and a good culture here. And I think in her 35 years here, she has established that and has made Kutztown definitely one of the top programs in our conference. So trying to bring in prospective student athletes that share that same goal, have that work ethic, the drive, and yeah, just want to keep the continued success of the program.
Of course, can you talk about that winning culture that you started to help build?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, not that winning is everything at our level. I mean, it tends to help. But I think a really good thing is that the past couple of years, the success we've had. I mean, in 2021, we made it to the conference semifinals. And then in 2022, we actually won the whole conference. And to have a little bit of some of the younger girls experience that, I think it's really good, because the one thing that we do remind them is that like postseason softball is not always guaranteed. So for the freshmen and sophomores, that's kind of all they've known and experienced. It's good because they want to be able to get back there. But yeah, it's winning is a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie and sugarcoat that. So like I said, we're trying to bring in kids that have that same winning mentality and passion to really showcase this program and have it be the best that it can be.
What advice would you give those high school athletes that are looking to become college softball players?
The advice that I would give them is to just work hard. I know that a lot of coaches like the versatility of players, and I mean, I do too, but I think if players can work on their mechanics and really have sound fundamentals of fielding or ground ball, of hitting, of pitching, one, it's going to make them stand out, and two, especially from like a pitching perspective, it'll keep them healthy. If you have good mechanics, you'll be able to stay healthy. You can have the longevity and be able to throw 44 games in a 2-month span and things like that, 2 to 3 month span. So yeah, I would just say work their tails off, stay dedicated, I know that it's hard to, but if playing college softball is something that they want to do, there are some things that they're going to need to sacrifice. But trust me, it'll all pay off. And I think one thing that I would say too to prospective student athletes is getting the scholarship, the roster spot, the playing college athletics is not the end game. Because once they get to us, we still have a lot of work to do, like I said, whether it's winning a conference title, regional title, or hopefully a national title.
What advice would you give those college athletes that are looking to play for Athletes Unlimited or the MPF?
Same deal. Work hard, work your butts off. I think one thing too that, and my players don't like to hear this, but I think if they take their physical fitness to the next level and stay in really good shape, I think that does wonders for their skill and their again, just their work ethic, and it makes life a little bit easier, and it gives you that extra edge of the mental game and that confidence, knowing that you put in the work, that and you don't know if your team, again, if your opponent did, but knowing that you did, I think it gives you that level of confidence.
What advice would you give those college softball players that are looking to represent their national team, whether it's US, Canada, or Mexico?
Use your contacts. I know that the softball world, while it's very large, there's actually a lot of connections that everybody has, and you don't know who somebody knows. So use your network. And again, if that's what your dream is, go for it. Be persistent, work your butt off, and use your network.
What advice would you give those future college coaches looking to get started in coaching in college softball?
I would say, depending on what's available and what positions are out there, even start small. Volunteer at a program. If there's a local college or university and that's something you want to pursue, start small, start volunteering, and really just try to learn as much as you can. I know that as a young coach, even myself included, there's still a lot that I could learn. And I think also the NFCA, the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association, they have a lot of good resources. They have a convention every year. There's different drills and things like that, if you have a membership. So again, just utilize your resources and just go for it.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with Kutztown's softball program at?
So my own personal Instagram is at Liz Parkins. And then for softball, we have a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I believe all of them are at KU Bears Softball.
Thank you again, Elizabeth Parkins, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at Kutztown as the assistant softball coach.
Thanks, Brandon. Nice talking to you.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Elizabeth, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.